live. Yay. Guys, have you checked your rewards today? If you're holding UFO and or LPing UFO, have a look at your rewards. Do yourself a favor. And if you're not tracking your rewards, there is a way to do that. I built a spreadsheet and it's in the Telegram. Just type / spreadsheet. You can input your holdings for pTGC and UFOs, the first two tabs. Input your holdings, and then you can see what you earned yesterday. Let me get this set up here. Got it. Okay. Space. New phone, so a little bit set up. Got it. Good morning. I'm doing good. Extra good, actually. I'd be lying if I'm only doing good. Extra good day today. Big rewards day. Oh, man. Okay. All right. I got to tell the story. I already DM'd a bunch of people about this. First being my wife. I knew, okay, UFO had the highest volume day ever. $2 million in volume. That was the highest day ever. But I didn't think much of it when I went to check my rewards. I didn't prepare myself. And when I revealed what I personally had earned in rewards, I started hyperventilating. You know how when you're like, that's what happened. There was a visceral response.
You're seeing everything that you've been working so hard for kind of just come to a result that actually could set you financially free, right? So it's definitely nice to see.
You ain't kidding, man. You're not kidding. Especially out, financial free, especially out CONUS, outside the continental United States. If people are thinking that, because we don't need to necessarily stay in this high expense environment, and nothing against that. I love the United States, but I mean, even if you're a holder outside the United States and see rewards like that, I mean, if your cost of living is half that of the U.S., you could almost you could do half the rewards. You see, That's just mathematically how it works.
Yeah, one thing that I like to see is if we're hitting these 2 million volume days at this point with PLS still below SAC rate, it really speaks volume, right? That we're hitting a lot of these goals that we're looking for. Like you're saying, you made a pretty good chunk of change without PLS even at SAC rate. And it was funny. I said in the comments, so we hit 2 million in volume below SAC rate. If Pulse Chain, let's say, is remotely successful, let's say it does a 50x, then our volume in high volatile days like today should be around 100 mil if the math multiplies out how I believe it will. It's funny because Kong's moon math calculator will need an update.
Yes. I was thinking about that last night. I said one of the best things could ever happen is Kong has to adjust his moon math calculator. And I think it's going to happen. It's going to have to go beyond 50 million. I hope.
Yeah, at least on days, right? The average, maybe not, but on days. And, we have to remember this is multiple cycle. This isn't just this bull market.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be here for a while. Oh, man.
As long as Pulse Chain's around.
Yeah. I don't think I had a chance to ask how you're doing today. Sounds like you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited that the machine is just starting to warm up, and I can see it warming up exactly as I planned on it to warm up. Like, obviously, we've been talking about this point for a year now, and PLS is still below sac rate, let's be honest, so it's like still not even warmed up at all, but it's firing as I intended. And when you spend years even working on an idea before it comes out, and then you've been so involved with the idea for a year, once it's out and you're so passionate about the idea, and when it plays out how you intended and like where the work was put in, it's not just my work, right? It's your work, it's Coach's work, it's Manda's work, it's, you know, such a large community's work, and I want everyone to be successful, and I want everyone to be proud to be part of this community, and it feels good to come through, right, on an idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like we were saying on the stream yesterday that everything so far that we have talked about in previous months, I mean, for like 9 months now, it's unfolding. So what does that mean for everything that we've been talking about from now forward? Well, if half of it unfolds, we're going to be very, very happy. If 10% of it does, yeah, man.
Yeah, the funny thing is it's been actually unfolding better than even we're putting out there, because we don't want to like overhype people up, but it just keeps like even doing what we're saying plus a notch higher.
Mm-hmm. I'm showing for the audience on YouTube the volume on secretobank.com. UFO volume $2 million, total liquidity $29 million. And then pTGC volume is $715,000, total liquidity $21 million. So 21 plus 29 is we got $50 million in total liquidity between the two tokens.
Yeah, I saw that today too. We crossed that threshold. We might not stay across it. Like, I'm sure there might be a little bit of a pullback, but we've passed 50 million in liquidity combined. That's a pretty big milestone, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, like SHIB, for an example, and this is just like decentralized exchanges. This isn't including the liquidity on centralized exchanges. But I think last time we were looking at like Shiba Inu only has like 35 million in liquidity. So, and this is on decentralized exchanges, not it's centralized, but it still like shows like, dude, we're getting to the level to compete with the big dogs, and just knowing where we are on R8's chain, like the biggest dog of them all, and like I have so much faith in the guy, and not even in the guy, like his products are just there, right? Like Pulse Chain as a product is there, Pulse as a product is there, Hex as a product is there. It just feels like we're really set up for an awesome story.
Yeah. Somebody asks on YouTube, how high does Pulse TGC think PLS will go? That doesn't make sense. Oh, he's asking you.
Yeah, he's asking mine. I really don't know. My honest answer is, if a lot of the speculation going on is true, like about this PDI narrative and stuff like that, I think that's going to be such a powerful story in this ecosystem, like just in the crypto ecosystem in general. I think it's going to bring a ton of adoption to where like the X's could be endless. And then in turn, if RH does use that as his own personal money printer, he can ultimately print it as high as he wants to. And I I saw a post by Ian yesterday where he had a picture of it's like the wood horse that they're bringing into the kingdom as like a present, and then they have all the troops inside. I'm spacing on
Trojan horse.
Yeah, the Trojan horse. So where I'm getting at is I have no idea how many X's it could do. I think it could do absolutely like crazy amounts of X's, which obviously is bullish for pTGC and UFO.
Yeah, and I can't even think beyond like 100X. I just can't imagine where pTGC and UFO would be beyond, even beyond a 10X. Really, and we're talking about cents. We showed yesterday on the spreadsheet that I built. I mean, just a 10-cent pulse. If pTGC continues to move against pulse like it has, is going to be multiple cents in pTGC, which is, we are only right. Yesterday when we were streaming Zen, we were at 20, I think at best 22X away from a penny, or 19X right now from a penny in pTGC.
Yeah, that's pretty damn close. It's very easy to do a 19X, especially with the X multiplier on our side. We've proven that many times now. I did also see that you posted that UFO is almost to parity with PLS as well.
Yes, let's have a look at that on the deck screener. 0.9743 PLS per UFO. So we're right there. I wonder if we've actually crossed over. I wonder if
we've the dipole or something like that.
No, I thought maybe we knifed up, but we haven't. It's actually if you look at the chart in WPLS terms, we are in price discovery right now against WPLS. But in USD, we knifed up a little bit in the last, since rollover yesterday. But we're basically in price discovery in UFO. PTGC, we crossed over six WPLS for PTGC. That was a new threshold that we crossed. And let's look at the chart in WPLS terms. We're not quite as juicy as UFO. We're not in price discovery against WPLS on PTGC. But we are in UFO. So, and PDI is almost 3 cents.
Yeah, I saw it actually went above 3 cents, I think. Or a little bit.
Yeah. It did. Actually, a few on November 29th. November 29th, it went to almost 3.4 cents.
That wick up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then today, it was at 3.3 at one point. Now it's at 2.8. So PDI is having an effect on pTGC and UFO.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the main pieces of this whole entire formula that we've been talking about is the assets that we're connected to doing X's along with us. Multiplication is a very, very powerful trick. No addition, right? So it can multiply really fast with this. Obviously, the reason a lot of people are here. I do want to go back real quick on that fact that UFO is almost at parity with PLS. I not that I think his other products are better or anything like that. I look at them as all different for purposes. But what you just said kind of reminds yourself, like, wow, Pulse Trade is really, really cheap right now still. And he's known to obviously increase the prices of the tokens he creates.
Yep. And he's got the bags to do it, and not just the bags, he has the know-how and the connections.
And the care, right? Like
exactly.
a lot of people don't give that enough credit, but the want to win and the want to have the people around you win as well, I think it goes a long way.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, everything. I mean, I'm looking at my deck screener, and somebody told me yesterday. This was last evening. The sun. It was already dark. I got this message, and he's like, "Get ready, because Pulse is about to full send." And this morning, That's what I'm seeing. Pulse is full. Well, the products on Pulse Pulse itself it's still below Zach rate. It's 4% down 4% for the last 24 hours. But everything riding on that network, practically everything is. I mean, I'm seeing 10, 20, 30, 60% gains on a lot of these tokens. So it's exciting times.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. It's nice to be like attached to every single one of them too.
Yes.
So it really like takes away the token versus token metric to where you're like, oh, that token's pumping, like, you know, we want to be pumping, or oh, that one's moving and PLS is moving, but PulseX is not moving. But if you're only attached to, or let's flip it around, if PulseX was moving and Pulse wasn't, and you're like all liquidity tied with Pulse, you're like kind of bummed a little bit because the one you're not in is running up. But with this token, you're literally attached to every blue chip.
Yes.
And every single different day, a different one fires higher percentages than another one. It's not consistent every single day. And it's nice to be able to reap that reward no matter which way it usually goes.
Yeah. So if you're new to the Pulse network and you don't know what assets that you would like to hold yet, these would be a good start. pTGC and UFO. Why? Because they're bonded with all the primary assets, the most, how do you put it? The assets that should do the best this cycle, they're bonded with those assets. Plus, they're bonded with all the RH tickers. So by holding pTGC and UFO, you essentially own a part of all the best tokens on the Pulse network. Great place to start. Hold these tokens, get them in your wallet, and then go cruise around and shop other tokens if you wanted to. But these are a great one to start with.
Yeah, nice thing to mention too, when you're holding these, you're holding a fully deflationary token, which most of the blue chips are not deflationary. A couple are, most of them aren't, and you're earning APY just for holding. Where every single other blue chips, you don't earn any APY just for holding. You have to provide LP, or you have to lock them for a time, etc. So it is really the easy button if you're looking for those features and to be connected to all the blue chips.
Yep, I think you guys are spot on there. Essentially, I see it as exposure to the blue chips, the lowest risk parameter, but the highest probability of matching upside due to the high market. He also has liquidity with some of the most speculative and best attention-grabbing assets on Pulse Chain as well, where we're very early. They get a lot of attention economy, and they get a lot of these early Pulse Chain whales on them. So even if they never make their way over to pTGC, the speculation and the hype and the attention these other tokens are getting will in turn create volume, which pumps pTGC as well. So I just think it's the best of both worlds. I was looking through old Twitter posts and videos I had, and with Coach and with you, and it's kind of funny how a year later everything that we're speculating on is coming full circle, and it really does seem like it's just getting started. Like I said, Pulse not even at the sack rate. Richard Hart hasn't even won the court case yet. There's more stuff coming out about PDI every day. So all those things just fuel much more upside potential, much more passive income, and much more deflation for pTGC moving forward.
One 100%. Thanks for coming up, Nick. I appreciate people coming up and talking with me and Banana.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sitting here just looking at some charts. I always try to listen in when I see good spaces on Twitter, and if it's something I care about, I'll try to pop up and be a speaker, give my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, and then thanks for doing that thread the other day too. That was nice as well.
Yeah, I did want to mention it because it's not all pTG, but I did like a little 6-part thread on Pulse Chain, the opportunity, kind of the 4 assets that I really like. And most of them, all of them, really benefit pTGC, and that's just kind of the angle I've had for the past year. It's worked out really well. Putting my trust in the math of the technology of pTGC and UFO, but also the people behind it. You got, you're here and the Prairie here and Coach is here, and you guys are always doing these spaces, and that's what people want to see. They want to see a face to a product. They want to trust the people behind it, the masterminds behind it, even though it's decentralized, alien tech. We don't know who's really pulling the strings, but people start to put some pieces together, and that's what they're buying into, and that's what they're supporting.
Yeah, that's why I put Prairie's Bananas face up, because it's a lot prettier than mine.
Very funny. Very funny. It won't be pretty once you get a tattoo on it.
And also with that, like, understand these green candles get a lot more. We're seeing a ton of money bridged into Pulse Chain. But I noticed that I have a private group, so I see it. I had somebody DM me this morning. Hey, I've been in all your Pulse calls since day one. I'm heavy on pTGC, UFO. I got the alien airdrop, whatever. But I got another $10,000. Do you think I should take your Floki call, or do you think I should move it to Pulse Chain? I told them to move it to Pulse Chain. So it's like people are starting to make that decision instead of sticking to the networks like BSC that we've been using since last cycle. We were very early on it. They're now asking me, making a decision. Hey, do I keep that on BSC? It's fresh capital, or do I move it to Pulse Chain? So I think the green candles and the attention, and Richard Hart's name in the news again is really starting to get people to reconsider where to put their fresh funds. And I'm telling people that the opportunity is still Pulse Chain, in my opinion.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you anymore. It's so undervalued. I don't see how it could be a bad play, let alone, in my opinion, the best play on all of crypto. But obviously, I'm biased. That's why I'm here. So I kind of like that you're a little bit more neutral than me sometimes, and you're saying the same thing. So it makes me feel confident.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the angle I bring up on these. Is most of the time I'm like, hey, look at what I post about. I'm not a Pulse Chain maxi. I've been here since day one, but I wasn't an X maxi, and I just go where I think there's opportunity. Right now, this past year, opportunity has been on Pulse Chain. Some of the blue flag, because SEC stuff, whatever, but it's like, PLSX has outperformed. I thought it would. pTGC has been near the best performer on the network, and I don't think that really changes. So I keep recommending to people, hey, let's reallocate your portfolio and go a little heavier on Pulse Chain, leading in the SEC thing and the PDI paganising and Richard Hart becoming active again, because that's all going to happen. And, you're going to kick yourself if you don't make that move.
Yeah, 100%. I guess back to what Prairie Banana was saying about his face tattoo. What if we only close to a 5x away until you have to get that, right?
Well, see, what's going to happen is, when we hit that 5x, you and I are going to play pickleball. And then that evening, we're both going to go get tattoos. I don't know if you knew that.
I own a tattoo shop, so that's
I'm not a tattoo guy, but let me know. I'll get a piece of jewelry later. I can take it off.
It's funny when they were joking about this, because a few years ago when our kids were old enough to leave at home, like my wife and I would go out of town, and where we live out of town is like 60 miles or 100 miles to go shopping to find a Walmart. And we'd come home, the kids would ask, well, how was your day? And I'd just jokingly say, well, guess what we did? And they're like, what? I said, we got tattoos. I just had fun with that, because they knew we wouldn't do that.
Yet. You don't do that yet.
All right. Well, Jim was asking in YouTube, what's going to happen to the price of pTGC when PDI goes to $1? And so I have the moon math calculator pulled up. And thank you, Kong, for adding a pTGC PDI quick pairing right here, our quick link. So if we do an X factor of 3, meaning pTGC moves against PDI, 3X against PDI. If we just do a modest 3, I think modest 3 X factor, and if PDI goes to $1, pTGC would be just a fuzz over 5 cents. So there's your answer, Jim. Which is, how many X's is that from here? 109X. Can you believe it's only 109X to 5 cents? I can hardly believe it.
Yeah, I think at that point we would have at least a 50X on LP to it. It all depends on where the X's come from. It's easier. It's almost better when you get X's from a base pair for liquidity because it rises up evenly. When you get X's from price appreciation of that single token, it kind of spreads itself from its liquidity. The price runs up faster than the liquidity. But in that example, if we 50X our liquidity, just knowing where that volume would be at for people who are in the system now, I think it could get to a point where big players don't actually ever need to touch any of their initials, and they could just support the system while the system supports them back, which will be really, really awesome to see. Ultimately, what the system was designed to do in general.
Rhett USA Force asks, I see my reflections listed on the UFO site. Are they automatically sent to my wallet, or do I claim them? They're automatically in your wallet.
Yeah, I get that question a lot too. And for that, I just tell people, take a snapshot of your wallet balance and then wait a couple days and then look at it again. And then you can kind of do the reverse math and see how much UFO or pTGC that you've earned from all of your passive income. Yeah. It's a good way to see it. It's also, kind of fun and motivating as well to see that number just go up just simply by going to bed at night.
Yep. And if you have the mind to, a spreadsheet might not be for everybody. There is a spreadsheet in the Telegram, and you type in / spreadsheet, put in your holdings there's a tab for both pTGC and UFO, and you can see a historical, reasonably close estimate to what your holdings have earned in yield.
Yeah, Nick, I don't know if you know this, but on the DApp, you can go to UFO token and then go to the PLP rewards section. And if your wallet's connected, it will show you how many UFO reflections you've gotten since you've entered the ecosystem.
That's true.
Nice. Well. I didn't know that about UFO. I know that on the pTGC side, if you stake your pTGC, it'll show you like what you earned from staking and whatnot. So.
Even if you don't stake your pTGC, if you're just a holder, you can also connect your wallet and see what you've earned in reflections as well. Kong is working on, I don't know how soon it's going to get done, but with his website, a place where you could just look into pTGC, where you could post just a wallet address, yours or really anyone, so you don't have to connect. And you can look at the reflection that's received, the staking reward that's received, and then if there's any pending or claimable rewards as well, which should be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's always nice because people don't like connecting their wallets to different DApps and whatnot. So remove some of the trust needed if you can just copy and paste a public address like that. It's nice.
Yeah, especially if you're someone that kind of just puts your ledger away, locks it in the safe, but you kind of want to just see the activity on a daily basis or weekly basis. You don't have to get all that stuff out.
Yes, that is true. And I don't know that you guys know a little hack you can do with Rabby Wallet. If you wanted to take an address off of Dex Screener, just copy it and then go to Rabby Wallet and click on. So I can't show, you guys can't see my Rabby Wallet, but you basically feign like you're going to add a new wallet. So you click on add an address and then scroll down. You'll see a button that says add contacts. You can add a contact, but you actually paste in a wallet address, and then you can have that, then you can label it, and that wallet address will be in your drop down list of wallets in your Rabby. And you can do that with any wallet that you want. You can literally just add it. And then of course you can connect to the DApp pTGC.com and see any activity between pTGC and UFO that wallet has, assets on. You can see its assets. It's pretty cool. Well, what else, guys? Coach us.
I was going to say, if no one wants to come up and ask questions or speak, we could just spend a minute going through the Twitter like we normally do. Just go over those posts. Anyone who is listening, if you have any questions, it's pretty much an open mic. You just have to request to speak. So if you have a question that you want to ask, feel free to come up and ask. We actually now are doing VCs in our Telegram on Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. If you do not like talking in a recorded and streamed setting on Spaces, those are private VCs unrecorded. If you do want to talk in a smaller circle. So just keep that in mind, but you're more than welcome to come up and ask those questions here as well.
And how have those VCs been going, and what time are they?
Tuesdays, I'm going to try at 4 p.m. and see if that time works out for everyone. That's probably the best time for me.
Is that Pacific time?
Yeah, Pacific time. And then on Thursdays, I'm doing 8 a.m. Pacific time. And I'm hoping to keep both those times. I can adjust them if it doesn't work with a lot of people, but those are kind of the ones that work best for me and my schedule.
Okay. So let me jot those down. So Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, and Thursday, you said 8 a.m. Pacific?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Got it. So that's 7 p.m. on Tuesday and 11 a.m. Thursday Eastern for those on the East Coast. It's good to know. And they've been going well?
We've only done one.
Okay.
The first one went longer than I thought it would, so I'd say it went pretty well.
I jumped in for a little bit, and I was really impressed with the interaction. It's like the Spaces guys are more of a community space. So it's like on Twitter, it's anybody can jump in on Twitter, but in the Telegram, sure, anybody can jump in, but it's just a smaller group. And so it seemed like people were more comfortable with coming up and speaking. And I was impressed. I was thankful for how well it seemed to have been going.
Yeah, like in the earlier days, we used to hold those VCs, I think, more often. And then we switched to doing the Spaces, obviously, because of the outreach maybe being a little bit more. So we're like, oh, let's do this on Spaces. I think we should have never given up on the VCs. I think we should have just done both. So I'm glad I kind of like got the idea and put it into the mix, because I think both are important. The Spaces are good for outreach, and the VCs are good for just more community conversation and smaller groups. I think a lot of people do not want to come up to this public platform, so I think it's good for them to be able to ask their questions in there.
Yeah. And let's go over to the Twitter, but don't let me forget, I'd like to go over the monthly data too, because I got that together yesterday. So let's go to the Pulse TGC. All right, there's the Spaces. So somebody bought $350,000 worth of UFO yesterday, but that wasn't in one buy.
I think it almost was. I think it just got auto-routed because it's so large. They probably used the auto-router, so then it threw that buy into multiple pools. Okay.
I saw a transaction for $69,000, and I saw another one for $45,000. And then
they're part of the same transaction now. It's just the auto router it's dividing up the purchase into multiple pools. Yeah.
All right, got it. Yeah, I was like, wow, man, it's on. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least it was last night. It's on.
Yeah, we had the 350K purchase, and then we earlier, I'd say a couple hours earlier than that, someone bought 250K as well. So there was 2 large purchases yesterday.
We really appreciate the volume. Let me tell you, it's wonderful. It is a foretaste of things to come. Right. 9 hours ago, we posted the Gray's currency has just rocketed into new all-time highs at $176 million market cap. Okay, that's new. I had not seen this one. What a great day for pTGC holders and the Pulse Chain community in general. So many great things are happening that we can all look forward to. The community is growing and new people are coming to learn more about the power of the Grays every day. These milestones are a testament to a lot of hard work, commitment, and belief in what Richard Hart has built. With Pulse Chain, there is nothing like it in all of crypto. Thank you to all the believers who have supported the chain, RH, and the mission of pTGC. In addition to the new all-time highs, the Grays just added another $51,000 to the pTGC PLSX liquidity pool, further enlarging the web and burned it. Massive value continuously being given back to the holders. Know what you own. We believe the Grays has the potential to become one of the largest and most robust cryptocurrencies in the space. Time will tell, but the future is looking very bright. Good post.
Yeah, I think it sounds good. A lot of information there. So just to take out a key feature of it, there was another 51K of LP added and then burned with PLSX yesterday in pTGC.
Okay.
So I guess I have a question, and I kind of know the answer, but maybe other people are listening. I know before you guys would kind of alternate between LP ads and then straight buybacks and burns of the token. And clearly you guys are focusing on LP ads. Can you elaborate on why you're focusing on LP ads versus the burn? And I know some pTGC is being burned by other amplifier tokens in the ecosystem, so does that come into effect for your reasoning as well?
I'd say that's a piece of it. So like with every transaction, pTGC does buy and burn itself. There's also UFO buying and burning pTGC as well with every single UFO transaction. Other even community amplifiers are buying and burning pTGC as well. But really, that's not the main reason. The main reason is I think our community believes that once these RH tickers leave like where they are currently, I don't think they're ever coming back. So we're trying to build the LP web as large as possible before pretty much the train leaves the station. One, because we're never going to be able to probably load up on these RH tickers at this level again. And two, the web is the mechanic that actually fuels everything. So since our web is getting so large, it just makes it so our machine is becoming less and less dependent on any human interaction necessary to even do like very, very high volume numbers. So the larger this becomes, the more the machine just fires day in, day out with no human interaction. Obviously, human interaction is like just an extreme multiplier. You can see this in the last 24 hours. Some whales were coming in, buying, which then increases the volume and just makes the machine run even more. But it just makes us even more less dependent on human interaction whatsoever. And like it is already not dependent on human interaction, but if we can just get stronger and stronger, it just makes it that much easier to just keep moving up without it, right?
Yeah, essentially, you guys already have huge liquidity pairs with these blue chips, and that's trading hard small, which means you're following them and really gaining momentum on them. But like you said, the bigger the LP, the stronger that tie is, and the more powerful Hart's Law is, the more volume gets routed through your accounts, and the more you see that ends up getting fall back and burned and given out as rewards for holders. So I think that's smart play.
It's kind of like in a turn, it's kind of like you catch one fish and then you eat it, or someone catches a fish for you and then you eat it, or if they can teach you how to fish. So when we do that buy and burn, like that's awesome. It increases the price instantly. But when we increase the liquidity web, that liquidity web just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that continues to do buy and burns and re-add to the Dow forever. So the bigger it gets, obviously, that system is like one of the only systems I know of in crypto that actually brings outside value into a single ecosystem without actually a buy of a human wanting those tokens, right? Like it's literally routing values through our system, and then our system gets to take 10% of that value and lock it in the system for the entire community. I think that's really unique to us, and it's shown to work really well. And we're just trying to amplify that as big as possible, because once the RH tickers leave the station, for one, if we wanted to add LP later, RH tickers will be at a higher price, which maybe isn't the best idea to be adding large LP amounts unless we're 40x from here or 10x from here. It maybe is better just to do buy and burn, because you can't really go wrong with the buy and burn no matter what. But if you add LP heavily with something near the top, well, then that's going to partially drag you down. So you really want to bolster up that LP as low as possible so that you get the Hart's Law effect, and then we can hit the buy and burns later.
That makes a lot of sense. And then I like how you top it off by talking about the blue chip for your major top. You can still outperform because then you can just switch to instead of adding LP to a straight buy and burn stop before the market.
Yeah. You can't really. That's like the nice thing is like it doesn't matter if it's a top or a bottom. You can a buy and burn is always going to help the ecosystem. Where an LP adds, if you put a huge amount of LP in with an asset at the top and then the asset takes, that's going to obviously drag you down. I think it is important to pay attention to not buying and burning at tops, because you're then just giving sellers more exit liquidity. So I think there is a little bit of like paying attention there that we need to constantly look at. Like, hey, let's wait for it to really do these big buy and burns. We don't have to FOMO top, FOMO buy tops with the buy and burns and stuff like that. But just more like I think 2 months from now, let's say RH tickers that are up 10, 20x, like the buy and burn, you still can't go wrong no matter what, right?
Okay, let's read another post. This was posted December 4th, Tuesday. The Grays just did again. Yes, we know you are all tired of winning. You're tired of the green candles. You're tired of the alien technology constantly adding value to the system and burning. Yeah, we know you're tired of the trustless yield and the system making your tokens more rare with each transaction. What more can the system do? Glad you asked. Add more hacks to the liquidity web. The Grays just added $33,364 to the pTGC liquidity pool and burned the PLP tokens, giving it to the holders. When you own pTGC, you own a true claim check on RH core tokens. What the protocol does is amplify performance of the assets, and when you're ready, you simply swap back into them and keep it moving. The Grays has outperformed by thousands of X's. There isn't more a protocol can do to earn trust. Remember the mission. We have a good writer. I don't know who he is, but he's good. Let's see. We talk about this one. Welcome to the Gray Whale. I don't think we read this one. Many didn't notice, but pTGC hit another all-time high today, and this was December 5th. It seems whales are lurking in the waters looking for discounts on pTGC. And those discounts, they are being bought right back up, if you haven't noticed, guys, in the charts. Every time that this token dips in the last week, 10 days, almost historically, it's getting bought right back up. Beautiful. I have a feeling this could be one of many instances. Remember, whales tend to swim in deep waters, and I believe our $40 million in liquidity might be starting to attract them, and it's set to get much bigger soon. When the demand for a product exceeds its supply, prices naturally rise. This economic principle is vividly demonstrated in the luxury goods market, where exclusivity drives value. For example, Rolex watches, which are produced in limited numbers, approximately 1 million annually, create high demand due to their scarcity. pTGC and UFO on Pulse Chain have embedded these economic strategies into their code to manage supply and demand dynamics. I have a feeling there might be more whales lurking in these deep waters. Whales tend to love exclusive things, and pTGC becomes more exclusive with every transaction. This could just be the beginning. Welcome, the gray whale, pun intended. Amen. Well, shall we go?
I think that, I kind of even did an additional post to that. I'm super excited to see these larger players finding interest in pTGC UFO. It not only means a lot to me that people see the value in the system, because the system was ultimately designed to be attractive to larger players because of the the amount of liquidity there is good for them, because they obviously are bringing in large amounts of money. So if they do have a large amount of money, they want to store that value and they want to earn off that value, right? Like if you're a big player, you don't just throw your cash under the mattress and let it just rot there and obviously get devalued by inflation, right? They make that money work for them, and that's really what this system was designed to do. Because when they enter the system with their value gets put into the web, and now that value is working for them for as long as they're in the system. Not only increasing the price of their asset, but also increasing their shares of the asset with every single transaction, and then decreasing the supply of the asset. And that value continuously works for them for the entirety of the system. I'm just excited to see these players seeing the value that's been designed there for them and wanting to participate. Because for a couple reasons, like when there's whales, and I gave this analogy in my next post, with whales tend to swim in pods. So when there's one whale, there's usually a few other whales, and they tend to move together. Why? Because they travel on each other's drifts. It's easier for them to swim together because they're moving the water in the same direction. Two, it's safer for them to move together. They're kind of all watching each other's back. So they're all looking out for each other for, bad things, bad environments, etc. And then what this does is it actually brings in the smaller fish around them, because it keeps the smaller fish safe from actually outside predators. So then smaller fish tend to follow these bigger whales because of that reason. So it's like a real world analogy that actually relates so well to crypto. It's insane. So I'm just really excited to see them see the value in the product that's been here this whole time, right?
Mm-hmm. Somebody was asking about the buying a position calculator, and I just updated the prices on it. I'd done it not long ago, but I just updated it again. And a dolphin position in pTGC is now $15,000. The dolphin position in UFO is $7,600, about half. I remember when a UFO position was about a third of the position in pTGC. So it seems like UFO is catching up. You referred to another Twitter post. Do you want me to jump over to that one?
It's on my page. Yeah, you can read it if you want, real quick.
Okay. I just got to find it. I think I had it pulled up when we started the space. So I'll probably recognize it right off. Oh no, I had the post for the Twitter space pulled up. Oh, was it about 14 hours ago?
That seems right.
Okay. Remember when I mentioned whales are lurking in these waters? Another holder just purchased $250,000 worth of UFO. Whales need deep waters to swim. At the current liquidity pool for pTGC UFO stands at $40 million. It's $50 million today. In nature, other whales and smaller fish often swim alongside whales for protection, food, transportation, and to reduce drag. It's interesting how this real-life dynamic also applies in the crypto world. It's time to start swimming with the whales. Now, I think the whales have been swimming with us in the last week or so. And they're talking with their friends too, which is great.
Yeah, I think we gave them a good environment to go in, right? Like that's what I'm hoping for, is that they see the value in the environment. If they are a whale, they want deep waters, they want liquidity, they want a trustless system, they want to earn yield on their value, they want to be in a token that's highly deflationary, increasing their value that they're holding, right? They want to know all these systems are here because they're not playing with little amounts of money. Like, if someone plays with a little amount of money, they can just throw that and they lose it. It's whatever. RH talks about this all the time. Like, if you lose $20, well, you just lost 2 hours worth of wages. But if you lose $1 million, well, like, that's quite a bit. So you have to be a little bit more aware about what you're doing and where you're going, right?
Yep. Okay, let's go over some data. Like for the last month, the month of November, we are tracking data on this spreadsheet, and this is the very spreadsheet that you guys all have access to in the chat. /spreadsheet, and you can input your holdings right here in the orange field. So the orange fields are your input, green are your headings, and then blue are outputs. And so you guys can see your holdings. Just scroll over. May as well show it real quick since I've been talking about it. And you can see your staking yield and the yield value, and then your holding yield and holding value. And that's the pTGC tab, the UFO tab. And then once a month, what I do is I take all of the data, because each row is a day, and I get averages and totals and put it in this tab called data reduced. So I'll just review this real quick. We start with pTGC over here on the left, but first I guess we should talk about Ethereum. And for the viewers on YouTube, you can see this pretty plain as day, but I'll try to narrate. And I'll just give a comparison. Like October's Ethereum volume that I recorded was about $34 million. In November, it was $64 million. Yeah, so the average volume went from $1.1 million per day to just over $2 million per day. Pulse chain volume in October was $623 million. In November, it was $1.336 billion. So we went from an average of $20 million a day in October to $43 million a day in November. I think things are heating up. pTGC total volume in October was $2 million a day, down from $4 million in September, but in November, $7.5 million. So the average volume in October was $69,000 per day. In November, $239,000. You can stop at your time there if you want to make a comment. The average ratio in October was 2.66. In November, 4.15. The average daily move, which would be the price increase, went from in October was 0.0003. In November, 7.6. Average holding yield This is for 1 million pTGC, which is now worth about $500. So 1 million pTGC in October yielded 25 pTGC. In November, 31 and a half. For staking in October, again, 1 million, holding 1 million. In October, it would yield 39 pTGC, and in November, 51. So your average APY for holding in October was 0.9%, in November 2.38%, for staking 0.9%, in November 0.13%, which seems wonky. Those numbers, I'm just going to be real, I'm telling on myself, but those numbers, the APY numbers seem wonky. But this is just one guy, me, managing this sheet. And I only
the only thing I heard that the holding should never outweigh the staking. The staking, because it's earning the exact same, but there's less people staking than holding, and you're earning that 1% when other people unstake early, has been higher. And I think you said that the staking was lower, so it's just not possible.
You're right.
Obviously, if you're staking, you're earning both, so there's no way you would ever lose. You literally just get both of them. And that's kind of how it was designed, is as you go further, you first hold, and then if you stake, you obviously earn both of those. And then if you lock, you earn both the holding, staking, and then now locking. There's no way you could earn less by going further down the rabbit hole of the ecosystem. But so one thing that I find really, really interesting about quantity of token APYs is obviously as volume increases, the APY gets higher, right? But if you're looking at quantity of tokens, the thing you have to pay attention to is if the price of, let's use pTGC as an example, skyrockets, well, you're going to be receiving less tokens. So if the volume increase times 3, and then also the price of pTGC increase times 3, you're actually receiving the same quantity of tokens. The tokens are just worth 3 times more.
Mm-hmm.
But it can actually go the other direction too. So let's say we're at a consolidation period and the price drops a little bit, but let's say volume's rocking. Well, if the price drops a little bit, you're now actually receiving more tokens. And then also, if the volume is super high, you're going to be receiving extra more tokens because the quantity of tokens you're receiving per dollar is more, plus volume is high, so that's more. So it's kind of a win-win. As long as price goes back up to new highs, all those tokens that you were scraping up at the cheaper prices are now multiplied. Right. So there's a bit of those consolidation periods. You kind of have to pay attention to what the pTGC chart's doing. If the chart just keeps going up and up and up, naturally you're going to be receiving less tokens. The trick is those tokens are worth more.
Yeah, and I can
kind of have to pay attention to dollar values and stuff like that.
Yes, and I can see that. And we're looking at that in the spreadsheet right here. So let's do a comparison. In September, pTGC's volume was $4 million. And the yield was 66 pTGC per million held. In November, the volume was $7.4 million, almost double. Yet the yield for holding $1 million was 31.5, less than half the yield, or almost double the volume. But the tokens were worth more. And the beauty of that is the tokens that we previously earned and maybe made 5% APY on, when the token does a 10x, your APY on those previously earned tokens is now 50%.
Yes, yeah. So, you kind of have to always be paying attention to that dollar value of the pTGC, and it works the same way with UFO, because volume is calculated in obviously dollar forms, because that's the relative thing compared against all cryptocurrencies. So you can't really compare other cryptocurrencies to other cryptocurrencies in token token quantity volume because they're all operating in a different token asset. We're operating in pTGC and UFO. Shiba Inu is operating in SHIB. So it would really make sense to even compare actually. So what we use is volume and dollar amounts, and that's ultimately how all this stuff is paid out. So the higher volume you have in dollar amounts, the higher volume in dollar amounts your rewards in dollar value you're going to receive. The catch is it might not be as many tokens as you're receiving a month prior if the price increased drastically. Well, now if price decreased drastically, you are receiving way more tokens, quantity of tokens. Especially if volume's up as well, you're receiving higher quantity and higher dollar value as well. So it's kind of like when price decreases, there is positive things happening. And this is kind of basic supply and demand, like 101, right? When price goes super, super high and volume is, let's say, somewhat similar high, well, the quantity of rewards you're getting might be a little less. So in turn, you might have to sell into your principal to get that, let's say, that APY that you need to live your life or whatever. Well, then the price goes down if someone taps into their principal or to profit. Well, then the price is lower, and now the APY will pick back up again if the volume is still there. Now, rebalancing it back is how supply and demand works. Is there's a curve, and there's a point where that curve crosses, and they call that the equilibrium. And naturally, the market will always keep pushing it back to equilibrium because that's how supply and demand works. When there's lack of supply, usually price goes up. When price goes up, demand slows down because the price is so high. But what's unique about our system is, and sorry to kind of rant, is as our price goes up, the mechanics of the system never stop the demand. The mechanics aren't a user. They aren't a human that are saying, these strawberries are priced high due to the lack of supply this season. I'm going to buy blueberries. The machine don't care. It's going to buy up the strawberries if they're even 10 times higher in price due to the code telling it to. And that's why the demand doesn't really slow down as our prices keep running up. It doesn't care.
Cool. So just so you know, I earmarked those APY sections for me to fix. I just marked them in red. So continuing on, the average pTGC tokens burned per day in October was 11 million. In November, 17 million per day. These tokens are $500 for a million. Average pTGC burned by pTGC. So I have it broken down in pTGC burned by pTGC and by UFO. In October, 2.4 million burned by pTGC. In November, 4 million. Now UFO. This is pTGC burned by UFO. In October, 3.3 million. In November, 12 million. So UFO burned quite a bit, like 3 times more pTGC than pTGC did in November, which makes sense because UFO was born in November. Average holders, and this is where, you know, this exemplifies adoption. This is where our adoption is, and we need adoption. We like adoption because we like all of our friends and family to participate. We almost literally don't need users because the bots are doing all the work for us 24/7. But the average holders added per day in October for pTGC was 27. In November, 30. And I've just got some pair activity that I'm tracking that I don't think anybody is necessarily interested in. You guys can see it if you want to by downloading the spreadsheet. Okay, now we're going to move over to UFO. Okay, UFO's volume in October was 1.3 million. In November, 11 million. So the average went from $44,000 to day in October to $368,000 per day. Average yield, and this is for 1 million UFO that I have in a wallet, and I have another 1 million UFO that is LP. So the average LP yield in Pulse in October was 40, and in November it was 201. The average holding yield so this is just reflections. Average holding yield in UFO in October was 79. In November, 150. So a double. And then we have our APYs. Let's see. You know, I'm gonna skip the AP. I have struggled with APYs, guys. I'll just be honest. I don't want to say anything. I'm gonna make sure this is good before I stick my foot in my mouth. UFO average tokens burned per day. In October, it was 49 million tokens burned per day. 49 million UFO tokens burned per day. In November, 99 million UFO tokens per day. 99 million. Zen. That's a tenth of a billion. What's the token supply? I think it's 1,000 billion. I'm just trying to quantify, how much of the supply 99 million is.
That's 100th of a million, or of a billion.
100th of a billion, and there's 1,000. Is there a 1,000 billion tokens? Is that what the starting supply was?
Well, there's 10 billion tokens.
10 billion. No, I think the starting supply was a trillion, which would be I'm getting mixed up.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, yeah, I'm mixed up. Yeah,
but trying to do math on straight doesn't work. The human mind cannot compute very well when it's under such pressure.
Yeah, 1 trillion or 1 trillion supply.
Yeah, but it's less. It's less now. Maybe we can skip over that real quick. Once I'm done here. So the average we did that. UFO average holders added in October per day we added an average of 9 holders per day. You want to guess what we added in November then per day?
20.
35. Real close. That's close. Maybe not. 35 per day. Went from 9 to 35. That's a 4x in holders. Average transactions on UFO WPLS pair in October was 46, 166 in November. The average volume went from 12,000 in October to 110,000 in November. Love it. I love seeing this progress, and that's why I like it. I love the spreadsheets because they show you the progress. I mean, we can sit here and guess and kind of conjecture. Oh, I think I remember this. But guess what? Our memories are fallible. They're not always accurate. So that's what the spreadsheet comes in. So, yeah, we have burned 7% of the UFO supply. The remaining tokens is 929 billion. Only 929 billion. See how we're doing on pTGC. Since we're doing this, pTGC has burned 11.5% of its supply. Remaining tokens are 295 billion. So if you hold 1 billion tokens, congratulations. That's it for the monthly data.
Let's go over the dashboard page of Kong's website real quick. I just want to see what the daily revenue gained in the last 24 hours was for both pTGC and UFO.
Let's do it.
If anyone listening does have any questions or wants to come up and speak, feel free to. We'll just add to the conversation. If not, we'll keep rambling on and going over all this stuff.
I got a couple questions. Number one, is there a plan to LP with an actual stable coin at some point?
Yeah, so the plan as of right now, obviously this stuff changes, is if PDI does become a native stable coin on a chain, we obviously would have like $300 million of LP with a stable coin. If that whole narrative is false and there is a different stable coin, or we just are using one of the written copies, we are planning to start adding that in full force once we get closer to the top of the site. We probably won't need to do that much adding if PDI is a stable coin, because we'll just get to ride that whole thing up, and then that would be best case scenario, but obviously that's not guaranteed.
Yeah. All right, cool. Second, so on the UFO reward page, right? It shows you your UFO shares, but let's say you're doing a farm on Pulse X, you're able to actually get kind of like a live count of what both assets are at that you put in, so you can keep track of your permanent loss. Is there a way we can add that onto the reward page? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we could probably add it. Right now, how everyone's been doing it is just going on Pulse X, and since our farm is built on top of Pulse X, it's just a smart contract that interacts with Pulse X. So all your PLP tokens are actually just in Pulse X, and you can view them at any time. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like how we looked at it is like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We don't need to create a different DEX. We want to build on top of RH's DEX. If they're trusted, we know those PLP tokens that we're holding are obviously in our wallet, but the assets that we're putting together and giving, for example, you the PLP tokens, we feel confident in RH's DEX. So that was the best place for us to build on top of. So yeah, you can just go into Pulse X, your PLP tokens just as you would in a normal LP pair, and they're just right there. And you can see what impermanent loss you can incur.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I have a question about that too, related to that. Something I haven't been doing yet is tracking the rewards for LPing. So how do you do that? I mean, I'm tracking my reflections and my PLS rewards for providing LP, but I mean, in the actual LP rewards, the fees that we earn for providing LP, how do we track that?
There is not really a good way to track that. As I understand, you have to close that LP pool down to see them, and it doesn't really make sense to close your LP pool down because you're going to lose your UFO share rate if you got in at a good UFO share rate.
Okay, this is my idea. I've done a little bit of it, but this is my idea for tracking that. I think what you need to do is know what the volume is, which we do. We can find that out. So I think you can figure out your LP rewards by doing this. If you know what the volume is for a day, you need to know what your position of that pool is. And just subtract your percent position of that pool, and that would be the dollar amounts earned. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you have to calculate what the fee, like on the Pulse X system, there's a fee that obviously goes to the system, and then there's the fee that goes to the providers of that LP as well. So you can divide your position of that pool by the fee that was incurred that day, and you kind of can keep that calculated. So whenever you do close that LP pool down, you kind of know what you've earned. But yeah, you would have to really keep track of that. I'm sure you could just like go on the monthly chart, go to volume, throw a volume metric on there, and then just add up the months that you've been LPing, because it'll tell you like, ooh, this month had 10,000 or $10 million of volume. This month, this. So then you can kind of just do it quick for yourself if you're looking to know. But yeah, I wish it came in a different fashion. It just doesn't.
Yeah, I wonder if Colin can maybe build something like that into his site. Yeah,
but you are receiving them because we are built on top of full deck, so it's literally the same thing as if you're just normally LP providing, you're just almost making the PLS rewards.
Yes. So a guy could literally use my spreadsheet for that too, because we track the volume. Only I'm going to tell you guys, the volume isn't. I get it from Secreto Bank. It varies. It's like a moving target. It's almost kind of weird. So it's like an estimate, but you could highlight, go back for a month, highlight all the volume and give you your total, and then like Zen said, subtract the small percentage that goes to LP providers. And I think it's 0.03%. And then if you know your position.
Well, real quick, Banana.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Secreto Bank tells you what the total volume is on those daily basis, and you wouldn't be receiving a portion of the daily volume. You would only be receiving a portion of the specific pool that you're in.
Yes.
This is different with with our farming rewards. It doesn't matter what pool you're in. You're in a pool with everyone who's farming, but with the specific standard pulsex rewards for providing LP, you are only getting what your specific pool does in volume and your percentage of that pool.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad I asked, because that's something I am exploring. Okay, what were we doing? Well, we were going to go to look into ptgc.com and look at the fee allocations. So for the last 24 hours, the allocations for PTDC, we burned $3,800 of PTDC. And we added $3,800 to liquidity. $7,600 was paid to reflections. $7,600 was paid to stakers and reflections. $15,300 was sent to the DAO. Just in the last 24 hours. $15,000 sent basically to the treasury to, buy tokens and burn them, or whatever the treasury decides to do. So a total of $38,156 in the last 24 hours in fee allocation for PTDC. And then for UFO, $62,000 was paid to LP providers. And then $20,700 bought and burned UFO. $20,700 was paid to UFO holders. $20,700 was paid to was used to buy and burn PTTC for a total of $124,000 in 24 hours. Yeah, it was a good day. How are things going today? I mean, are we having a similar situation today? I'm going to refresh Secreto Bank. It's at 2 million right now on my screen, and this was from just a little while ago. Really, we'll see what it is now. It's still over 2 million.
A lot of that volume came from last night, so we'll have an update when those 24-hour periods cross, and a lot of that's dependent on what the market does from this point. So right now, I know PDI is up, and pretty much the whole entire market's up. If everything kind of stays in unison, like they're kind of walking in lockstep, that's when we don't get as much volume, right? What we usually get the most volume from is when there's volatility. So like an RH ticker moves up, but the rest stays behind, or PDI moves up and RH tickers go down, or we like that. We like when one of our assets goes on a big move and the rest kind of stay behind, or the rest go on a big move and one in particular stays behind. Kind of creates that volume for us.
Cool.
So we'll see how the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend plays out.
Yeah, I just scanned the Telegram for buy bots, and there weren't a lot. So we had some great activity last night, and it looks like it's cooling down a bit today. But that's crypto. It's cyclical, and the weekends are always going to be a little, usually tend to be a little slower than the weekdays.
Yeah. I did bring up Duhawks. Duhawks, if you had any questions, feel free to just shoot them out.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, perfect. I think big picture on this, I've been new to the protocol. Basically, when I talk to people about it, they don't understand that the yield does not come from inflation, meaning like Bitcoin. If you mine Bitcoin, you're earning inflation. If you sell it, you're going to sell the price down. Where in pTGC and UFO, the yield you're receiving is from fees or the liquidity web, and it's already been bought on the price chart. So if everyone sold all the rewards every day, the price would not go down below that purchase.
100%. There's that metric of it. So the fee is only paid out if it's legitimately bought right then. The fee is never paid out, or the reward is never paid out if there's no bot or human giving you that reward, which is kind of unique to our system. Another thing to keep in mind is when you receive that reward, when that reward is paid out, at the same time, there's also the automatic LP add. There's also the automatic buy and burn. There's also the funds that are going into the DAO, which are also adding LP and doing buy and burn. So not only is the reward that's paid out to you backed in that reward itself, but actually at that same time as well, there's more value getting pushed into the underlying value of the asset as well to double back any yield paid out, which is also very unique.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And what I think that is good for is for like, as we move on and, you know, let's say the price continues to go up, or, you know, players get decent bags, or a shark is happy with their position, they can actually like live their life off of that position in rewards. And even though they're selling every reward they're receiving, they're actually never tapping into their initial that they put in. And also they're never really even hurting the chart. So by them never touching their initial, they're holding up the whole entire system. And as they hold up the whole entire system, it puts the system at a certain dollar value, at a certain market value. And since they're holding up the certain system at a certain market value, they're giving the liquidity web a certain valuation that lets the arbitrage bots move within it. And since they're holding up this valuation, the system is paying them in return. So it's like hey, thanks for valuing the system at this price. Here's a reward for doing so. And this reward is fully backed. So even if you do take a profit off of this reward, you're not actually harming the rest of your investment. And this is kind of unique to our system, is like usually when you take profits on that reward, you're harming the rest of the investment that you have working for you. So you're kind of like mining pTGC and UFO constantly, but every time you mine it, it's actually increasing the price to where another system like Bitcoin, if you're mining Bitcoin, you're actually not even holding any Bitcoin a lot of the time. These people just sell it instantly on the market. So to mine Bitcoin, you don't need any Bitcoin. So you don't actually have to increase the position of Bitcoin to mine it. The only way you can mine decent chunks of pTGC and UFO, this idea is obviously given to me by RH, is you have to hold the asset. You don't get to mine it unless you hold the asset, and then you don't get to mine a lot of it unless you hold up the price of the asset.
Thank you. Yeah, that's quite fascinating.
Yeah, and then, you know, another teaching from RH, really buying and holding up the price of the asset is all that matters. Like a community needs to do that, or you never get a price appreciation ever. It's like the most important thing in crypto.
Zen, have you looked at your experimental wallet lately?
Does anyone have any other questions, or Banana, did you have anything else you wanted to keep going through?
Sure. Have you looked at your experimental wallet lately?
I can right now. unless you have it up.
I had it pulled up. I just pulled the number from it. So today it's worth $348,000.
It's getting there.
Last week it was worth $279,000.
Yeah. For anyone who's listening, I created this wallet just as a fun tracking measure. This was about I'd say a month to a month and a half after UFO launched. I was kind of looking at the prices of Pulse Chain in general, the prices of UFO, and I was like, I really think all this stuff is super discounted right now. It wasn't the lows of Pulse Chain at all. It was kind of, a month into pTGC or a month into UFO, where after UFO launched, there was this couple month period of consolidation, and it was scooped up kind of in the middle of that. But it also was pretty much, I was saying that you don't need to go and find all these little, in my opinion, shit coins that die to try to turn a decently small amount of money into a large amount of money. So the journey was 30 million to 1 mil using the UFO farms. So to utilize the UFO farms, you obviously need UFO, and then you need the RH tokens. So I put 30K in, paired the two together, and it's been running for 5 months now. And we are almost 40% there. Probably need a 2.2x more to hit the goal. I'm not going to stop the goal down once we get to that 1 million mark. I think we'll reach that 1 million mark really, really easy. But I just wanted to show people on Pulse Chain that you don't need to just keep hunting down all these random meme coins that launch and die within a day. You just have to find the right projects with sustainability and longevity and just become a long-term holder, and it will do what you are looking for.
Yeah.
I might have missed it too.
We'll see how soon it gets there.
For that wallet?
I really wonder how high that wallet's going to get this bull market.
I think Nick was talking.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Sorry, Nick. I don't hear you. I'll just be quiet for now.
Yeah, I might have missed it. What was the starting value of that wallet?
Zen, what was the starting value of that wallet? Do we even
30K.
Okay. That's a detail. Thank you for asking that question, Nick.
Yeah, so that's over a 10x since a month or two after launch of UFO. So pretty impressive.
And what was the pairing?
The journey is 30K to 1 million using RH tickers and UFO. How long that's going to take? I'm not going to close it down once it hits that journey goal. I'll let it keep riding. But that was kind of the idea of it. And I think it's fun to kind of track a public wallet and just where anyone can kind of look at it and see how far it's going, see the rewards it's getting, see the PLS it's receiving, and see how it appreciates in price.
And somebody asked what it's paired with, and I'm going to pull that up.
Yeah, that was the. What was the initial pairing? Was that that was UFO and?
Also, Banana, this is another thing we can pay attention to is
Zen. So, Zen, who can you not hear?
Zen, I think
I only hear you and Banana.
All right. If you're not Banana or myself, drop down and come back up.
Yeah, sorry about
Zen
that.
can't
Guys.
hear.
Yeah, somebody was asking what you paired with, so I pulled it up on the DApp.
Yeah, what I was saying, Banana, is another interesting thing. I pretty much created all those LP pools somewhat similar in size, and you can see what pairs have became the alpha pairs of our system due to the price appreciation of different tokens. So they're not going to move up evenly in price due to what asset they're bonded to. The thing that they have relative to each other is all UFO, right? But they all have a different connected asset, and their different connected assets are all the RH tickers and PDOT. So you can actually look at this wallet and say, what has been the best performer for the UFO ecosystem to date And that's currently the alpha pair in our system.
That's
I think it's
That's UFO Hex, actually. UFO
oh,
Hex.
it's Hex. Yeah, so I guess Hex has been the best performer.
And the next
which
one,
is cool to know.
yeah, and the next one actually is the other Hex. I don't know which one is. Probably the first one below pTGC is the Pulse Hex. Is that how it works on the DAP?
Yeah, you're looking at something wrong because I just pulled it up. PDI is the biggest one.
Where's that?
For me, it's showing up on top.
Okay. Let me make sure.
And then
it's for address ending 0B25.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, clearly. UFO Hex is the on mine. I'll refresh my screen, see what happens.
Yeah, it's super weird. Yeah, on mine it shows the PDI and then the P hex and then E hex and then PLSX and then Pulse.
Oh, and are you looking at pending rewards?
No, I'm not looking at pending rewards. I'm looking at the size of the LP pools.
Oh, okay.
So under your holdings.
Okay, so I think I need to go to UFO token and go to liquidity pools.
No, you just need to look at the wallet on DBank.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna do that. Copy that. Go to DBank. All right, yeah, because I want to see exactly what you're talking about. Then I'm glad that there wasn't a mix-up on the site. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not looking at your YouTube. Sorry, so I was guiding you in the wrong direction.
It's okay. No, I was. Yeah, absolutely. UFO PDI is $64,000 in value. UFO and Vortex, which would be on the Pulse chain, $50,000. UFO and EHEX, 44,000. UFO and PulseX, 40,000. UFO and Pulse, 29,000. UFO and Inc, 29,000.
Hey, can one of you guys do me a favor? Can you look at the history and then look at the original ad of each LP pair? And then you can probably take into account of the permanent loss with that number. Can somebody, or Perry, can you do that?
I think Zen would probably be better at, but are you on a mobile, Zen, or are you at a computer? I don't even know where to look for the history.
I'm on mobile.
Well, like looking at the transactions on DBank and then scrolling down, and then you can actually, it will show like how much UFO was put up and then how much TDI was put up at the beginning. And then it will show the dollar amount, what is actually valued at currently between the two.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like for an example, the ad with DI, like the PDI fork, PDI, it's $13,000 of PDI and $71,000 of UFO. Sorry, my son just fell. Let's look at Pulse X is $5,000 of Pulse X, pretty much $70,000 of UFO.
Well, it's not. So that's how much it was put in. So now, since the permanent loss came into the mix, I'm trying to showcase like how much of a percentage of a permanent loss actually happened.
Oh yeah, well it shows what that PLP is worth. So let me say that. So with PDI, for an example, it's $13,000 of PDI, $71,000 of Pulse TGC or UFO, and the PLP tokens are worth $63,000.
So how much PDI did you start or put into the liquidity pool?
It's 13,000. So if you add up 13,000 times 71,000, that's 84,000. So pretty much there's $21,000 of impermanent loss.
Yeah, well, no, just say the actual PDI that went into said liquidity pool, and then what is the said PDI in that liquidity pool right now?
I'll have to flick back and forth. Hold on, because I'm on my phone.
Oh, I see.
I'm under transactions.
Yeah.
So now the amount of PDI in that pool is pretty much $1 million, and what was put in was
480,000.
480,000. So it's pretty much doubled the amount of PDI, but obviously I've lost a ton of the UFO within this experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
if I just held, I would have had $20,000 more by just the price appreciation of UFO since the start of this. But since I got in permanent loss, it's worth $63,000 right now. If I was just holding the two assets, it would have been worth $84,000. And that's why a lot of people don't like impermanent losses. You're ending up with the least performer of the two as they even themselves out. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Coach, because that was a cool way to look at that.
And now, how much poultry wars have we did? Or have we claimed it yet?
No, I haven't claimed it yet. I'm just letting it build up.
So the pulse rewards are, give me a second, we pull this up. 68 million pulse. Pretty juicy. Earned from reflections, 30 million UFO.
I'd have to see how much that's worth.
Yeah.
So if you claimed that 68 million in pulse, if you wrote it back into, say, a UFO or pTGC, wouldn't that help grow the wallet faster?
Yeah, I can. Because then I could create a scenario where that PLS is working for us again, or it would just show at least an increase in value. I was kind of just letting it build up, so at one point I could just do like a big claim of like once PLS is worth more value and stuff like that. It could be like, oh, like look at this wallet started with 30K, just in rewards I received 30K, right? Like that was kind of my goal there, and then just do that claim and showcase that the wallet that I started with 30K has already received 30K just in PLS rewards, and that's not even to talk about obviously all my LP pools and so on and so forth, right?
So what you could do, because that 68 million pulse is worth $5,800. You know, you could just let this wallet continue to organically grow up to where it's worth $1 million, and then harvest your yield and compound it.
Yeah, I was gonna wait until like that APY was 30K in general, so like the rewards were the same amount that was the whole position was initially started with, if that makes sense. And that can happen just naturally from more PLS rewards coming in, and then also the price appreciation of PLS in general, right? Because just even where it's at right now, you said it's like $5,000. If PLS does a 6X, well, then I'm at my 30K.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to chat? Who has any questions? We got the founder of pTGC and UFO on the horn. That's your chance. But we do this twice a week, and we are doing you are doing voice chats twice a week as well. So lots of opportunities, but may as well strike while the iron's hot, guys.
Yeah. If no one comes up with any more questions, I'll probably shut it down by 9. Go play some pickleball.
There you go. I'm overdue for some pickleball. We didn't make it out this week.
I don't have a question, but I have an experience that was kind of enlightening yesterday in terms of crypto, if I can share that.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I was talking to some clients, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're into crypto, we're into Doge, and Solana, XRP, and blah blah blah." And I thought, okay, so how do you hold this stuff? He said, "What do you mean? Do you hold it in a crypto wallet? I don't understand those words. I don't get it." And I said, "How much you got?" He's like, "I had probably 500,000. You have 500,000 and you don't know where it's held?" He's like, "Well, it's all in Robinhood." Oh, okay. Well, let me explain something. And I started explaining about how everyone should have an Ethereum address, and once you have an Ethereum address, you can put it on a hardware wallet, and you can protect yourself and own your coins. If FTX went down, a lot of people lost most everything. Other founders, these exchanges, stuff goes down. And he said, "So I can move it and hold it myself?" I'm like, yeah. So how do I do that? I've never understood it. And I thought to myself, okay, these guys who have hundreds of thousands of crypto technically in a centralized exchange, they don't know what they're doing. Us here playing in this, Trezor wallet, claiming rewards, watching APRs, staking, it reminded me of how freaking early we are and how much we are ahead of the game, and that our job is to not to lord it over people, but to teach people. And so, us here, we're talking to each other. We all know this stuff, or at least we have a good feeling of it. But there's still so many people who think they know crypto who don't really understand what's going on. And I kept saying, "Not your keys, not your coin." And they said, "I don't get that." Okay. There's a lot you're missing here. So I have a meeting back up on Monday with them to go over this stuff, not for work stuff, not just for crypto stuff, just because they wanted to learn. And I just found that fascinating, that I think, I'm playing in LP pools, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm claiming rewards. I'm watching transactions. I'm following wallets. And these guys have no clue what that is, yet they've got a fair amount more money than I do for the moment. Just an FYI. I thought that was fascinating to see.
Yeah, that's why when I come on these, I always kind of preach to a couple of the leaders here, like, hey, sometimes, these are really good. We get really high level on these, but sometimes getting some content out that's just very low level or low IQ or very intro is important to keep onboarding new people into the ecosystem, and they'll find their way over to pTGC because it's one of the best performing assets. There's so many people out there who are just getting started in crypto, or they've been in it for a few years but never really paid attention or did much with it, like you said. And these people have a lot of money. I had a buddy who said, "Hey, my neighbor ran into me yesterday when he was drunk, and he bought 2 Bitcoin when it was 91,000, and he's bragging about how now it's 100." And that's somebody who has no idea what they're doing. They're able to just go on Coinbase and dump 180K into the market. There's a lot of money that can come to the space, and if you're the one who's helping them, obviously you can help onboard them into the ecosystems that you're a part of and that you think are going to have a lot of success. So in a way, yes, you're helping out a buddy, you're helping out a coworker, a friend. You're not getting any pay for that, but you're onboarding them into an ecosystem you're already early to, which means you're going to kind of ride that coattails and get that payoff in the end of the day as well with that network expansion.
That's all true. And thanks for saying something, Nick. Yeah, we tend to speak on a higher level just because we know the assets so well. We should try to intermingle some lower level content as well. And so let's start with a wallet. If you're not using a hardware wallet, guys, you gotta get yourself a hardware wallet. And don't get a brand new product. Get yourself a Trezor or a Ledger. Never digitize your seed phrase. I mean, if there is ever a time to be very vigilant about your crypto holdings, is right now going into a bull run. We don't want to see anybody get wrecked. And when I say don't digitize your seed phrase, I mean don't screenshot it, don't type it into a keyboard, don't even whisper it if there's a mic nearby. Keep your seed phrase very, very private and engrave it on something that's indestructible like stainless steel. Make a couple of copies. look into doing passphrases and that sort of thing. Take your security very serious, so that you don't, because we're all going to be a target. We don't know where this thing is going. We have ideas where it could go, and we don't want to arrive at where it could go and be like, oh, now I need to figure out how to protect my assets, or oh, my wallet just got drained. Let's take crypto's security serious right now, ahead of the bull run. And you can start, in my opinion, probably the best thing you can do is your hardware wallet.
Yeah, one of my suggestions for people too is don't play with Twitter and Telegram on computers that you hook your hardware wallet up to and stuff like that. Not that they can easily get into it. It's just these people will be clicking stuff on their Telegram, and then they get added to a fake Telegram and it says airdrop connect wallet, and then next thing you know, they're clicking links and connecting their wallet to random scams. So I think just in standard practice, it's good to keep your social media stuff separate from your crypto finances, because that's their main attack vector.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, all right. Well, last call. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come up. If not, I'm going to call it a day and spend some time with my family. Yeah, we got someone coming up.
Hey, to go along with what y'all were talking about, revoke.cash, if you already have committed any or gone that route they were just talking about, just go to revoke.cash to pull, and it works with Pulse Chain to start removing permissions.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, thanks for that. I needed that. Good call, man.
Everybody does every few months. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, true, Paul.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Paul. And thanks for coming up. I did, just before I close it down, I want to say thank you to everyone who came up here and spoke today. It just means the world to me that you guys are adding to the conversation, just making this space more interesting. I'm sure everyone gets a little bit bored with me just rambling. So when you guys add to it, it not only makes it more fun for me and Banana, but I think it makes it more fun for the community that's listening in as well. So thank you to all you guys that came up and added to the conversation today. It means a lot. Even if you didn't come up, just thanks for coming in and listening. I appreciate you guys educating yourself, even if you're already educated and understand the protocol. Thanks for just showing support. And I'd say that's about it. Banana, thank you for being my co-host and always being here with me, working to educate the community.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. And yeah, I will echo your sentiment. Thank you for everybody showing up. And we thank you, Zen, for taking the time to spend with the community that has built up around you. We really appreciate everything that you're doing, sincerely.
So I'm just part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
One of many, trying to educate people on a system that's brand new in this space. So
yeah, we'll have fun playing pickleball. Really.
Yep, that's our Saturday crew to the park. My wife, that's my son, play on the play gym. I get a couple games in with all the old people.
There you go.
And I let some 60-year-olds beat up on me a little bit.
All right, man. Yes, sir. See you guys. Have a good weekend. Any great. It was okay, man. Sam. He's good. Like I say, he's a guy that, and I like people like this. You can lend them your car, like if they needed to borrow your car, like you would. But I like people that, I get the sense that if they borrowed my car, they would return it in good working order, but gassed up, washed down. Yeah, that's it is. That's it all of us.